YouTube. I'm getting very close to 1,000 subs. I think I'm at 998 or something like that. So hopefully this will spur it on. This is my, I suppose, sort of the first when I started going proper mad for the Japanese guitars. This is my 1980 Washburn Falcon. It's something else. This is the one people people ask me what my favourite guitar is. It kind of could be this one, really. It's the one I kind of show off. It's got a wee bit of a squeaky strap, actually. It's the one I kind of show off when you're saying, it's like, oh, what's so good about Japanese guitars when folk come round? It's like, this used to be the one I used to always pull out and go, look at this. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I have done videos of this before. I did a Washburn Wings series set of videos, but I never actually did a proper demo of this one. I did a couple of years ago when I had in my last house when I didn't have a proper mic and stuff. I've just cleaned it up. There was some sort of mad staining on the fingerboard which I could never get rid of. I've tried everything, and eventually today I just decided I was going to dig the guitar out for a video for my 1000th celebration, sort of. It's a stunner. Yeah, so 1980, made by Yamaki. This is the rosewood version of the Falcon. These all look very different because the wood in these is just stunning. So I actually someone on my I've got a Washburn the Golden Era Facebook page, which I started up, and someone posted one of these the other day. It's amazing how they all look completely different. Mine's got like a sort of fingerprint here. It's a little bit lighter than some of the other ones I've seen as well. But this, so in the order of things, this originally in 1980, this might have been top of the range actually. In fact, I think it was. I think in 1980 there was only 2 in the range. No, maybe not. So the Wings started in sort of 78. And originally there was 2 models. There was the Falcon and the Hawk. I do have a Hawk as well. I got the most recent of the Wings I got. The Hawk is a 3-piece neck through and doesn't have push-pull coil splits like this one does. It doesn't have the brass inlays in the fretboard. It's got brass rings, which are rather cool. It's also got a brass nut and a bit more binding and things like that. But it's basically sort of the same guitar. And then in 1981, I think, they brought out the Eagle, which I've also got, the white one, which is even fancier than this, even though it's ultimately pretty much exactly the same guitar, apart from it's got a fancier binding. But everything else is the same, the pickups and all that. I think the pickups are pretty much the same in the Hawk as well. So this one doesn't have the original tuners on it. It's got, at some point in the past it's had Grovers put on it. I do have tuners that are the same as the originals on my Washburn Raven, which I was going to swap over and then I wasn't going to. But the thing is, I quite like these Grovers, are fine, so I've just left them on. It's also got someone stuck a switch in here, which was originally why it was a 3-way switch that was in there, but it only did 2 things. Only one of the positions on it worked. I think it was meant to be a phase or something like that. So I've disconnected it. Whoever it was managed to cut holes in the PCB in the cage in the back as well. So basically I've just got it, rather than have a hole, I've stuck a wee on-off switch in, so it's just like a kill switch. Yeah, so it's 5-piece neck through. I think it's maple and is it walnut in the middle. It's an ash body. Let's look at the stripiness of the thing. Ash body, and it's got this is the rosewood top version. This one came in a few colours. This is I'm pretty sure it's definitely the nicest looking one. None of the other ones have this. So you can see that it's neck through from a mile away, because you can see these stripes. On the other ones, there's a tobacco burst one. The tobacco burst goes over the neck through, so it doesn't have the same contrast in it. Same with the maple one. It's because there's one that's got a maple top on it, but it's because this is maple, it doesn't contrast the same way. It doesn't have and then there's a tobacco burst and there's a sort of red cherry burst of the original Yamaki built ones. It's got, as I said, brass nut, wooden truss rod cover, ebony fingerboard, binding, the brass inlays, 22 frets. It's got this scoop thing on the back, which to be honest, doesn't give you amazing top fret access. Really, it's kind of a bit tight, but it's not bad. Washburn power sustained pickups, which I have relatively recently found out that they are Ibanez Super 70s, because the guy who made these said that they just went to the Maxon factory and said, we'll have, what's your top of the range guitar, and it was the artist that'll have those pickups in, so that's what's in this. So they're Ibanez Super 70s, even though they're not branded. Not that I'm particularly sure that Ibanez Super 70s are branded either. It's got the harmonic lock bridge. So if you see there's a wee Allen bolt. So you clamp you set your intonation on the brass saddles, and then you can clamp it solid, so it's more solid. It's through neck, through string, sort of Telecaster style. It's also got a wooden back cover. And then you've got push pull pot on each one, which just coil splits these. It's called a coil defeat in the original spec sheet, which is a much better name than coil tap, because coil tap isn't the same as coil split, or in this case coil defeat. Maybe they just don't like having defeat. Maybe it might be a literal Japanese translation actually. Yeah. So in the back of this, which I can't bother taking the back off, it's got like all the electrics are sitting on a metal sheet, and then it's got a PCB printed circuit board with all the controls on it, and then it's got a metal, I call it a Faraday cage, that sits over the top. So the whole thing is enclosed in a shielding box thing. This one doesn't have, I don't think the pickup switch in this one's original, so it doesn't have a separate shielding bit for the pickup switch, whereas my Eagle does have that. It's like, you see, like if you look in the back of your amp, you get the cover that goes on your preamp valves. It's kind of like that. That actually screws onto the back of the thingy, so you've got like it's got an entire shielding box just around the pickup switch. And we're obviously going right for making it as ridiculously expensive as possible. The quality of the woods in these is totally stupid. It really is. This is the one that if anyone ever says, you should buy a Les Paul, and it's like you look at this and you go, these are cheaper than Les Pauls. Even now, they're still cheaper, even with my videos saying how good they are. But it's just, this level, you just don't get guitars like this anymore. I mean, even if you look, I was looking the other night, I think I mentioned this in one of my other videos, looking at all the guitars that were $5,000 and stuff that you can buy now in Guitar, and none of them look like this. That's a totally ridiculous amount of rosewood to have on a guitar. And it's just absolutely stunning. I've got a picture of John Fogerty playing his on there. He bought one apart. The story goes he bought it in a pawn shop somewhere in the Midwest, like after they'd stopped making them. They stopped making these in 1982 or 1983. They continued on with sort of lesser quality ones, and could never find another one. And it was his favourite guitar that he used for right up until sort of 88 or 89 or something like that. But people started complaining that because he was American and an American hero, he should not be playing a Japanese guitar because of Pearl Harbor and stuff. So he had to retire it, and then he just uses like Gibsons and Fenders pretty much now. Yeah, so let's make a little bit clean. This is the bridge pickup, coil defeated or coil split, and I've got reverb on, even though I don't normally reverb on. I might have to turn it off if I don't like it. They're very high output pickups, so it's kind of, if you thump it, it's driving my amp. Even in clean mode, I'm playing through my wee Laney VC30, just come through that cab, no pedals on. Neck. Bucker in the neck. Bucker in the bridge. So probably both of them single coil actually, so it's a really good. I've got on my Washburn stack in a box pedal, which is probably probably sort of almost vintage correct. It's the mid 80s. Neck bucker. Bridge bucker. Single it with distortion. Yeah, so about how it plays. I struggled with this for a long time. I always felt I wasn't good enough to play it. It's not a particularly forgiving guitar. There's an awful lot of dynamics in it, and if you make a mistake, it punishes you. So you'll hear me getting punished quite a lot when I'm doing my demo. It's got a really comfy neck, but it's really clubby. It's like a sort of D profile. Someone told me if I held it up, you could see by looking at it. Yeah, but it doesn't feel so clubby down here. It's the fact it doesn't really seem to get thinner when you get up to the 12th fret. And it's quite heavy. I meant to get a bit of string to wear this. I've decided not to bother trying to hang the thing off the tuner. So if I hang it off the strap, it'll probably do it. Oh, that's not. Why is that not reset? There we go. Right. So hang this off the strap. Sorry, just bear with me 2 seconds. I really don't want to drop it. That's not an ideal way of doing it either. 4.5 kilograms. So quite heavy. Not the heaviest guitar I've got, but definitely on the chunky side. You can convert that into pounds if you want. I don't know. I could probably press the button. Yeah, I think that might be me enough talking about it. Well, not really. I'm going to have to do. The thing is, if I did, I've done so much research into these things that if I just told you everything I knew about the Washburns, then it would just be like an hour-long video. So this is sometimes classed as a Model B. The earliest models, the sort of 78 and 79 models, the early 79 models had the jack output wasn't on the edge, it was on the top. They didn't have these pickups. See, it's got 3 screws on it. They only had 2. They didn't have the brass inlays. I don't know, there's not really that much else different, I don't think. The bridge, they didn't have the harmonic lock bridge. They had a bridge that kind of looked similar, but not without the clamps on it and a different shaped saddles. The earliest ones I've seen are different here. They there's more of a sort of fillet. So the horn there goes straight into the body, sort of into the neck, perpendicular. I have seen very early ones where it's kind of a bit more this shape. There's a sort of fillet in there, and then so that they made this model from sort of some point in 79 till 83, I think, when Yamaki closed, and then they moved on. They did reissue it a couple of times. You get Falcons later on, but they don't have the carved top. They don't have this ridiculous neck through. They're made by Tushin, and they're basically just not as expensive to build. So I'll just stop talking about it and have a wee jam, and seeing as it's John Fogerty on there, I'll play a wee bit of Creedence, I think. Oh, Suzanne! If I just put the drums on there. thought. Both pickups. Put the right chords in there. Bucker the best. Whoa, shoot. Whoops. Haha. Hopefully that's getting that more right. that'll do for us. So thanks for all 1,000 of you, whoever you are, for clicking subscribe. Assuming it's maybe gone. I assume some people maybe see this and not have subscribed and go, oh, there's 999, bang, and be 1,000. Whoever's the 1,000th doesn't get any sort of special prize. I'll read out your name, so you're immortalised forever. Yeah, so Washburn Wing Series, you can still get them pretty cheap. And even if you get like one in really good condition, it's actually quite expensive for one. You're still talking about the same price as a Les Paul Studio. And it absolutely wipes the floor. I'm sorry, it absolutely wipes the floor with any other guitar I've really tried. You might not like it as such. It does have quite a thick neck on it, so I can see why some people wouldn't like the thick neck. But apart from that, everything on it's absolutely top notch. I actually had an argument before with a guy who saw this and went, "Oh, that's great." Immediately, I'll maybe just pick one up cheap, change the pickups over to Seymour Duncan's. You're just like, no, don't check. These pickups are fucking awesome. They're Ibanez Super 70s. You know what I mean? They're designed for this guitar. It's got a real bite to it, which I just whoever it was designed this was making a no holds barred. How good an electric guitar can we make? And this is what they come up with. You know, it really is absolutely the wood in it is just top notch all over the place. That guy also said he thought the wooden truss rod covers looked cheap. And it's like, how can wood look cheap compared to plastic? I mean, look at that. Compare that. I've actually, my pal, hi Jerry, sorry, has got a Les Paul Traditional, which is it's a lovely guitar, and it's like this piece here is like it's a sort of, you know, this sort of scratchy stuff that car dashboards used to be made out of. That's what the back cover's made out of, like really horrible plastic. That's like actually a piece of wood. It's the same. I don't know if it's the same piece. I don't know how they did it. It can't be the same piece of wood. It can't be the bit that they cut out. But it's a very similar. I'd imagine it must. I wonder if it's maybe a piece of wood that came out of this bit of the wood. You know, the bit it came out of this part here. Because obviously this must have started off as a blank at some point. Yeah. So these were made in batches of like 20 or something like that. According to the guy who made them, there's only 2,000 Washburns made by Yamaki. I just don't. I mean, this is information coming from the actual guy who made them. I just don't think that can be true. There's maybe 20,000. There can't be 2,000 because 2,000 would cover all the different models and stuff, and they're not that uncommon. There was actually one on eBay last week, and I don't think it sold, or it wasn't expensive anyway. It wasn't quite the super desirable one, but these were made to order as well. So most of them are the rosewood ones. They're quite common because look at it. You know, so people would go, which one do you want? It's like, I'll have that one, so that then they would order them and then churn out another batch of 25. I don't know what the serial number actually applies to. It starts with an 80 for 1980 and then it's 0366. So it's maybe the 366th Falcon from 1980 or 366th Wing series from 1980. I don't know what the numbers at the end of it mean. But starting with 80 implies 80. I'm really looking forward to getting back in the studio with my band. It's been ages. Really missing the guys. I hadn't yet taken this guitar in because I know they're Nazareth fans, and Manny from Nazareth played one of these as well. Like that looked like this. There's a few famous users around the place. I can't remember who they are. Mick Moody, Bernie Marsden, or Mick Moody from Whitesnake played one. Not actually found a video of him playing it yet. I've actually even looked for a video. I don't think I've even looked for a video, but it is in an advert. I've actually got a guitar magazine about somewhere, which I've still not scanned in, which has like a pal, James, lent me so I could scan it in properly using my scanner, but I've not actually done it yet, but I will get around to it. And it's got like a Mick Box and Uriah Heep as well. It's got like an advert there, like a clever advert that looks like it's part of the magazine, but if you actually look in the corner it says advertisement up at the top. So it's got like a page on Washburn, and then you go over the top here and there's another page from Washburn, including, most interesting, this bass here. This bass, what the hell is that? I will scan it up and put it up on Thingy. That is a completely unseen base that does not exist as far as I'm concerned. I've never seen it. This is a Vulture 2 here. It's even got, does it have a price list on it? There's a price list somewhere. There's the Falcon. In fact, I could even, why not? If you're in this far, you're in for it anyway. The Wing Series electric guitars are where the Washburn idea of what an electric guitar ought to be, founded on more than 100 years of instrument making experience. Sort of. They never made electric guitars before this, and they made they made acoustics in America, and then I don't know if it's anything to do with the original Washburn people or anything like that, but this is the first Japanese one. They all have individual names, which accounts in part for their success because people tend to identify with names much better than letters or numbers. Yes, I think that's great. Falcon, Eagle, Hawk and stuff. On the same page, they've got the stage series, the really well named A10 and A20. Yep, so they could maybe have just listened to the names and then put names on the stage series as well, which would have made them much better. Tentative I was much better than have letters and numbers. You only have to look at the guitars that have been major sellers over the last 15 years, Les Pauls, Stratocasters, etc., to see the common link is they all have an identity. Opting for a well-tried body shape. It's not really that well tried. It's kind of like a double cut Les Paul, and there's a lot of copies of this kicking about. A lot of people made a similar sort of thing. There's a Lotus and some other sort of cheaper ones that are kind of they look very similar. People think that it's the same factory and stuff or not. They've just copied it. Opting for a well-tried body shape and conventional overall appearance, the designers of the Wing series went straight for the essentials. The standard of construction had to be second to none with a degree of precision that had seldom previously been seen in instrument woodworking. Timbers and materials were selected to optimise playing characteristics and sustain, and different models were produced so that the needs of all musicians could be catered for. Finally, sound conscious, as only makers of top quality instruments can be, Washburn insisted on the very finest of purpose-built electrics and electronics. The Raven and the Scavenger. The Falcon, solid ash body, carved rosewood or maple arch top, 5-piece rock maple and rosewood neck. Okay, so I said walnut. It's rock maple and rosewood. Neck through body, bound ebony fingerboard with polished jumbo frets, brass bridge and nuts, strings attached through the back of the body, Washburn power sustain humbuckers, coil disconnect pickups, switches. Okay, they call them coil disconnect. The coil defeat must be in something else. Built into the volume controls, rosewood maple, antique sunburst, cherry sunburst and gold top. Yes, all models available in left hand. There's actually a left-handed one on eBay just now, I think. And in here as well, I don't find it really quickly, I'm not going to bother, but there was a place, there you go. That wasn't bad. So this is October 1980, and the price list, all American designs, exclusively produced for Washburn. Mick Moody, Whitesnake and Mick Box, Uriah Heep have proved these axes are to be in the top league, both in the studio and on stage. The Washburn range includes 11 different models, send 25 pence in stamps to get the full colour catalogue. I would totally spend 25 pence in stamps if I could get the full colour catalogue. We guarantee low prices in UK. Raven, Hawk, Falcon, 301 quid in 1980, so I don't know how that ties up. Do they have any? No, I was wondering if they had any like Les Pauls or something. I don't know how much a Les Paul cost in 1980. And there's my 8-string basses on this as well, 325 quid. Interesting. Yeah, so these will be getting scanned and put up because this is, as far as I'm concerned, this stuff doesn't exist online yet. So cheers for that, James. I will scan them. I will put them on my Washburn the Golden Era page, which is for all the Yamaki built ones, and it extends into the Tushin built ones as well because they're still awesome. They're sort of more sort of current Gibson high end quality as opposed to better. Rock and roll, 32 minutes. Catch you later. Hope you're all doing well with this this lockdown thing. I need juice. I'm gonna have to start drinking water again. I forgot to buy Coke. It's like I'm getting sugar withdrawal symptoms because I've been drinking Kong Strong, and it's getting nasty. It's pretty nasty. It's alright having one can, but that's my third can today, and it's just and Star Trek Next Generation, been a couple of really good episodes. And then there was one that I just watched there, which was a total cringe fest. They went to a planet, and it was founded on a Scottish colony. And it's like, so you've got like a Scottish guy who talks like this, like the way no other Scottish person ever talked. But I'm an American and I like to speak Scottish. And you're just like, Scotch? You're not Scotch. So you're just like, and quite funny. They started off, the colony was like Captain Picard. It's like, yes, it reminds me of the Highlands of Scotland. Is that pure? Hi! The cornerstone for each building, and each of the main buildings has got a stone that came from Aberdeen and Edinburgh and Glasgow. And the baddie was from Glasgow as well. He was an 800-year-old ghost with no even attempt at a Scottish accent. A bit by the by. Rock on, everyone.